Today we're going to be looking at the Hisense U8K. This is one of the most anticipated televisions of the year. With up to 1500 nits of peak brightness and mini LED technology, it's going to be a game changer for a lot of people who are looking to upgrade their current televisions. Before we get started, I want you guys to know that I do see your comments and I will compare this against other TV, but everything has to be done in order. With that being said, let's talk about some of the upgrades over the U8H. Well, first of all, this TV has a faster processor than last year's model, new gaming center that I'll show you guys later on in the video. In addition to that, they did add some extra speakers on it to create a better surround sound out of the built-in speakers. And they also doubled the local dimming zones to give you better contrast as well. The U8K is a 120 Hz panel. It has 8-bit with frame rate control and is mini LED. And these are the 4 sizes are available, but I will tell you that this is the manufacturer's suggested retail price, and we will expect it to go lower as soon as it hits the market. So when I was putting this video together, I had a lot of time to really look at the screen, play different content, play games and things like that. And I was very impressed overall, but I will tell you that it's not perfect. There's a few things that still has room for improvement, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in this video. So the first thing we're going to take a look at is SDR content using YouTube TV. It maxes out about 1080p and most content is about 720p, but I just flipped through some of the different picture profiles so you guys can see what it looks like. And let's say, for example, you're playing sports, it's better to put on that profile because it makes the action a little bit smoother and it makes it a lot more brighter. Now this TV does have the ATSC 3.0 tuner, and still in San Diego, I don't see much content at all. In fact, I don't see anything. But this is what the guide looks like, so you can go into the future, you can press on something, but you can't record or set up a reminder or anything like that. And I'm actually pretty impressed with this TV tuner. Everything I've played so far looks crystal clear. Switching over to Disney Plus, watching movies, you're going to expect to have a really dark, inky type picture, even though it's not an OLED, but everything comes in nice and bright thanks to those high nits ratings to bring in that detail of the picture. And switching up to some brighter scenes, overall, I think you're going to be happy whether you're watching some darker movies or something with a lot of light. This TV can basically handle it all and display it very well. Now, just in case you wonder, I want to show you guys some other demo footage besides the television stuff so you can really get a grasp of what this TV looks like. The biggest thing that I can notice is that, again, it has that really inky contrast and it has a lot of saturation. But the good thing is that this Hisense television does support CalMan software. So if you do have someone that's a professional calibrator, they can come in your home and tweak it out and adjust it to get the look that you're looking for. The last thing I want to show you guys as far as the picture quality is SDR next to HDR. Now the way HDR works is it uses metadata. So whenever it sees a signal that's in HDR, that signal takes over the picture. Now here's the thing. Most HDR content is recorded at 1000 nits. The fact that this TV has up to 1500 nits allows you to have more than enough leg room just in case you get on a scene that's too dark. You'll have that additional brightness to be able to enhance the picture just that much further. On the back of the U8K, there's plenty of inputs, including a headphone jack output and the ATSC 2.0 tuner. There's also 2 HDMI 2.0s for 60 Hz devices and 2 HDMI 2.1s that can handle a signal up to 144 Hz. And that's ideal for people who have powerful gaming PCs. Now in this part, I want to answer some of you guys' gaming questions. First of all, this is the new on-screen menu. You can see the frames per second. I have it in Dolby Vision, HDR, VRR turned on. But with this settings, I can see the frames per second, but it skips over some of these other options. As you see right there, it doesn't go to everything on the screen. And to answer your question, can you use VRR and adjust the local dimming zones? Yes, you can. See over here, the game's still in the same setup, and I can go in here and control everything right there, so you'll have no problems with that. And just so you know, if you turn off the variable refresh rate, then you'll have access to the high refresh rate. And the reason this is, in my opinion, is that the variable refresh rate takes control of the TV, where if you don't want to use that option, you can force the older games into a higher refresh mode. All right, so we're going to try out this input lag tester, and I want to make sure that the TV is in gaming mode, and it's reading about 19.2 milliseconds. And if I go into the gaming settings, you can see that auto latency is turned on, but let's see what happens if we turn FreeSync off. Goes up actually to 19 point, it's about the same. And then let's try this again. Go back to the gaming settings, and we're going to turn off the high refresh rate mode. So if you turn on the high refresh rate mode, you're actually going to get higher latency. As you can see, it dropped down to 13.1. And if I go back to the menu, go to gaming settings, and turn that back on. Let's give it a second. You see it goes back up to 19. So that's just something to be aware of when you're using that feature. Now I showed you guys a lot of demos, and for me, looking at it live, I think it looks really good. It has inky blacks, very vivid colors. However, I will tell you that the local dimming zones are great, but because it's not a lot of them, you will still see a tiny bit of glow whenever you're watching certain images, but it doesn't really affect it, especially if you're upgrading for something that's not as good as this. But now let's go ahead and take a look at some of the demos I'll put together so we can dive down into the picture test. And this is where you might see some things that are going to really show what the panel can actually do. Normally in this area, all the TVs are blown out, but the Hisense is picking up such a better range in this brightness level. And of course, we got those inky blacks up here. So it's doing a really good job with the full range of contrast. Now, even though this is an 8-bit panel with frame rate control, this was very interesting. The 10-bit actually looks better than the 8-bit. Over here, I can see a little bit of gradient in the picture, where over here is a lot smoother. So that's very interesting to see that Hisense did a really good job programming this TV. Now for this demo, I do have the TV in HDR mode. So you can see on that top line, you do see a little bit of motion that's kind of shaking right there. But let's check out some of the other settings. So this is the HDR energy saving mode. And this is basically using the sensor and everything to make the TV adjust itself to the room. We have HDR gaming, and this gets a little jittery. And then we have sports, and this actually smooths things out just a little bit. There's your HDR theater, and there's filmmakers mode. They also have an IMAX mode as well. Now I did test the blooming on this TV, and at some settings it actually was very smooth. I didn't see anything that I could notice, but as I started playing around with it, the brighter you make the TV, you might notice a little bit of halo around some of the images. So if it was me, I would find a happy medium and not make it too bright nor too dark to be able to make sure that the picture look as good as it can. Looking at this uniformity test, again, it looks a lot brighter in the center over in this area, but on the sides we get just a little bit of a netting just over here in the corners, but not too bad. This U8K has an amazing audio system. There's 2 speakers on the bottom, there's 2 on the side and the back, plus you have a subwoofer, and there's controls inside of the menu to be able to adjust the bass levels. But here's what it sounds like. Now this TV is powered by Android operating system. You see all kinds of applications. It's snappy. I don't see any kind of glitch or anything like that in the system. And under live, it actually picked up the channels from the TV tuner. So you can see right there, everything I just showed you, and you can give it like little stars right there if it's your favorites. And of course you have a full app store. So you can see there's plenty of apps in here. If you select something, you just click on it and you can download it. Now another feature I want to show you is that this TV does have a web browser, so you can use the remote control. But if you like, you can hook up a keyboard and a mouse. You can also use the USBs like a thumb drive reader so you can play your movies, music, things like that. And they do have this feature called Device Assistant, so you can do these different formats, including optimize your system to clean out old applications, and generally that's cool to keep the TV running as fast as it's supposed to. Now if you want to learn more about some of this operating system, I went over it in the unboxing video. But the last few things I want to show you guys is that it has 19 gigabytes of storage. In ambient mode allows you to have different screenshots, and you can actually go into Google Photos, connect it to the TV, and you can go ahead and display your family albums right there on the set. It has Apple AirPlay and HomeKit. And also in the unboxing video, I went over this feature called Camera Smart Functions, where you can give it commands and control the TV just by using hand gestures. Plus it does have Alexa built right in. Now here's the remote control that comes with it, and one thing they added is they put the word menu on this button, so you now know how to get to the gaming center. Plus, it does have a light in it. Now, one thing that confused me is that whenever you press that menu button, you automatically get this gaming bar down here. So if I'm not a gamer and I don't want this, it just seems to be automatic. Otherwise, you have to hit settings and go in there, and it takes up a portion of the picture. In order to get to your different picture settings, you got to go all the way over to the end, hit menu, then it pops up all your controls. So it seems like it's going to take a few other steps to get over to where you need to go. Now you can get to your sound, your game settings, format, your sleep timer, and everything's down here in this bar, which is very convenient. But again, if you hit that menu button on the top, it pulls up the sidebar. You have to hit the gear or the picture and then go over here to get your picture settings. So for me, it just seems like there's a lot of few extra steps to get to some of the basic features. But I do like it overall as far as the functionality once you get there. Now this TV, I actually enjoy it. I can't tell if I like it better than the U8H just because I need to actually film them side by side, and I'll get to that as soon as I can. Just be patient with me. But at this point, I am liking the new gaming menu. I am liking the new audio system. And overall, it seems to be a pretty solid television. Now, the biggest question we have to ask ourselves is, even though this one is priced at $1,699 right now for the 65-inch, what is going to be the actual price when this TV hits the market? Will it stay at that price, or will it drop down something more like $1,299? We'll see. I'm Tech Steve. Thanks a lot for watching. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.